Let's bring in Scott Bauer, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, and do a little bit of trading here. Scott, you're very peaceful on Twitter and very professional in your account as well. I don't see you do a lot of screaming, at least not from your work account.
There you go, right?
That's the key.
That's the key. That's the key. Absolutely. I agree with you.
All right, so what are you looking for here? What do you think about trading this company? I mean, do you want to get long a stock that got obliterated last time they reported?
You know, I'm very cautiously optimistic, Oliver. You know, we're up at some resistance levels technically here, but I'm looking for a breakout. I think they really have the opportunity here to really announce some good things, especially on the revenue generation side of things. So I'm cautiously optimistic. So how do you play a situation when, you know, you might be bullish, let's say, but maybe not so much just for the print, but going out in time? Well, the perfect kind of setup for this, and this is something that I've taught my students, a position that we are already in, is to buy time or buy a calendar spread. So what I'm doing here is we're buying out about 3 weeks, the August 20th 75 strike call. But to finance the purchase of that call, I'm selling next week's, the July 30th 75 strike call. Same strike. This is called a calendar spread or a time spread. Time spreads work fantastically when you can, you know, you're buying time, but when you have a big disparity between the implied volatility or the premium amount that you're able to sell versus the implied volatility or the premium amount you're able to buy. So I like this. What this really does and how this will work best is if we get a move to Twitter over the next few weeks to the upside. It doesn't have to be a big move up on earnings. It can just be a slow grind up. And what will happen is the implied volatility or the premium levels of these two options are going to normalize. They're going to come back into line with where they typically trade. So I'm definitely looking for a moderate move to the upside, but also that volatility to normalize. And if that happens here, this can be a huge winning trade. If it doesn't happen, like every other trade we talk about, I am completely, you know, have my risk defined. I can only lose the 80 or 85 cents that I'm going to pay to get into this spread.
Okay. So, Scott, you're obviously hedging yourself a little bit here by selling options against this as well, financing it. You're not going outright long, to your point about, you know, not betting the house on this trade. And in terms of the upside you want, though, I mean, you're looking for upside, but you don't need a big blowout. I mean, this is more kind of thinking that the stock's not going to have a repeat of last time.
Exactly. And, you know, even if we get a moderate decline in the stock here, this spread will hold up well because of that big difference in volatility between what I'm selling and what I'm buying. Ideally, would love to see the stock kind of grind up towards that 75 level by next Friday the 30th. Doesn't have to happen on the print here, but when you get into a time spread or a calendar spread like this, where there is such a big difference in the volatility levels, even if the stock starts to move against you a little bit, and in this, you know, in this case, since we have a upside call spread against me would obviously be to the downside, this will hold up well, and I probably will not lose very much, and even can make money if it's just a moderate decline.
Okay. All right. So even if this thing does slip a little bit, you've got some buffer to the downside. All right, Scott, thank you, and we'll be watching the trade, watching the earnings, and hit it this afternoon, and 69.55 right now. Twitter at a very interesting spot, maybe precarious given near the high of its ranges, but looking for some stability and maybe even a little bit of upside, Mr. Bauer.
Yes, sir.
A bullish trade here. Thanks, Scott, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy.